Hello, Beatrice. Hello, everybody. Once again, in Geiger's garage. I enjoy these meetings. Some take longer to put together than others. I'm still learning this craft of production, if you will, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Follow me. Welcome to the bench. I had a thought today that yesterday, actually, I was working on an old fence, and this fence had been in the garden for a lot of years, and I pulled it apart yesterday to make a barrier to put around the koi pond in the backyard. The dog loves drinking out of the koi pond, and Mrs. Geiger does not like the dog drinking out of the koi pond. So Mrs. Geiger wins, and so I took an old piece of fence that was leaning up against nothing and created a barrier to keep Burke out of the pond until he figures out that there's other ways to get around it. I think we're good. But it got me to thinking about being out by that small body of water. It's no bigger than this bench, but it got me to thinking about the birds that were outside and things that were going on. And it reminded me that many years ago, I picked up a copy of this incredibly popular book from years ago, Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. And I'm sure quite a few of you are recalling, like, oh yeah, Jonathan Livingston's Seagull. This book was the book back in the day. When was that day? 1970. So 50 years ago, this book sold for $4.95. And it was an unbelievable hit at the time. I would say it was probably popular 10 years before maybe 5 or 6 years before I actually found the book. And by found the book, I mean found it to make sense to me. But I thought I would read a passage today and tell you why afterward. So, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, a reading. It was morning, and the new sun sparkled gold across the ripples of a gentle sea. A mile from shore, a fishing boat chummed the water, and the word for breakfast flock flashed through the air, till a crowd of 1,000 seagulls came to dodge and fight for bits of food. It was another busy day beginning. But way off alone, out by himself, beyond boat and shore, Jonathan Livingston Seagull was practicing. 100 feet in the sky, he lowered his webbed feet, lifted his beak, and strained to hold the painful, hard twisting curve through his wings. The curve meant that he would fly slowly, and now he slowed until wind was a whisper in his face, until the ocean stood beneath him. He narrowed his eyes in fierce concentration, held his breath, forced one single more inch of curve. Then his feathers ruffled, he stalled and fell. Seagulls, you know, never falter, they never stall. To stall in the air is a disgrace for them and a dishonor. But Jonathan Livingston Seagull, unashamed, stretching his wings again in that trembling hard curve, slowing, and stalling once more, was no ordinary bird. Most gulls don't bother to learn more than a simple facts of flight, how to get from shore to food and then back again. For most gulls, flying is not what matters, but eating. For this gull, though, it was not eating that mattered, but flight. More than anything else, Jonathan Livingston Seagull loved to fly. This kind of thinking, he found, is not the way to make oneself popular with other birds. Even his parents were dismayed as Jonathan spent whole days alone, making hundreds of low-level glides, experimenting. "Why, John, why?" his mother said. "Why is it so hard for you to not be like the rest of the flock? Why can't you leave low flying to the pelicans, the albatross? Why don't you eat, son? You are bone and feathers." "I don't mind being bone and feathers, Mom. I just want to know what I can do in the air and what I can't do. That's all. I just want to know." I think what caught my attention to that passage was the situation that we're all in today, and how we are all away from the flock, and how we are all given opportunities during the day to find a passion, experiment safely with new ideas, and learn new things. Even though this quarantine is quite a mess, and even though our situations are not what you would call positive, I think there is a positive way to spin this situation that we all find ourselves in, and we can learn a little bit from a seagull who decided that he was going to learn new things because he had the time, and didn't mind being alone. Now, I know for a lot of us, a lot of the students I know, they mind very much being alone. And thank goodness for the popularity of our cell phones and other ways and means that we have to connect with each other. We do that. But I think once in a while, it would be okay for us to all put down those devices and to think about things that we've always wanted to try safely, with parent permission, and think about ways that we can improve those things that might not be so popular with the flock, but things that we always wondered about, and things that we always thought about, and dive a little bit deeper into those things, and take some time, we have plenty of time, and see if we can't make a minor improvement to either a skill that we've always wanted, or a skill that we possess now that we can perhaps hone into a sharper, more proficient, or a more beautiful, or a more perfect way. And that's my message for tonight, is to consider the time that you've been given as a gift and work towards something that perhaps you never thought you would have worked for in the past. Put down the phone, put down the device, shut the laptop, turn off the TV, and pick up a piece of paper, pick up a tool, pick up a book, pick up anything that might give you an opportunity to do something a little bit different, and to look at something in a little bit of a different way. And as Jonathan does, listen to your parents, but at the same time, consider how you might spend some of this alone time improving some of the things that you love to do. And I think that's my message for this evening. I hope you're all well, and I'll be thinking about you. And I might go back to this book from time to time. If anybody's interested, you can send me an email, and I'd be happy to share a little bit more about the life of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, a little bird who made a big difference a long time ago. Maybe ask Grandma and Grandpa if they ever heard of it. They're gonna say, "Oh, I recall that," but they might not exactly remember what it's all about. But what it's about is improving yourself, and that's what I'd like you to think about for today, and certainly for for all this time that we're somewhat alone in our quarantine situation. But at the same time, don't be a loner. Enjoy your family, enjoy your siblings, and have a good night. All the best. From me to you. Take care.